With family like this, who needs enemies? Meet Tim. At a young age, he began hanging around with the wrong crowd. Tim just couldn't turn down the opportunity to make some quick cash. Soon, he would be in and out of the juvenile system until 17, where he caught an armed robbery charge and ended up doing 10 years in prison. Upon his release, Tim decides to turn over a new leaf, and he seems sincere in making a change. In an attempt to make up for the trying times he caused his mom, he ends up working diligently at the family business. His mother, also known as Miss Robbie, owns a soul food restaurant out of St. Louis, Missouri, and her restaurant is booming. People from far and wide come to taste her famous pies. Ms. Robbie is even offered a show called Sweetie Pies on Oprah's own network. It's a show that kind of highlights the ups and downs of running a family restaurant business. Even though Tim worked at the restaurant, it doesn't mean things were all good. On more than one occasion, Ms. Robbie would receive complaints from her staff about Tim, saying that he was unprofessional, he was rude, and he acted like he owned the place. One time, in between filming for that reality show, he even got into a physical altercation with his nephew, Andre. People in the family were upset that Tim put hands on the boy. They figured he should have used emotional intelligence to de-escalate the situation. It seems Tim had a deep-seated resentment towards his nephew. Perhaps it stemmed from the fact that Miss Robbie was very proud of her grandson. He graduated from high school and he was an aspiring rapper, out here trying to make his dreams come true. Speaking of which, one night, Andre was at a home recording studio, working on some music, when he gets a call to come outside. When he stepped out, a man ran up on Andre, pulled out a heater, and unalived him right there on the spot. The family believed the situation surrounding Andre's unaliving was suspicious at best. Those close to him said he never would have walked outside if he didn't know the person or if he felt it was unsafe. When interviewed by radio and news stations, Miss Robbie voiced her disdain for this unknown killer, referring to them as a rat and a schemer. The whole time, Tim stood by his mother's side, showing his support. He also thanked the viewers and the customers for their thoughts and prayers during the family's difficult time. Investigators started their search for a suspect and used Andre's phone as a starting point. And soon enough, they began zeroing in on some suspects. Tell me why. The text messages in Andre's phone traced back to people who actually knew Tim. Turns out, Tim hired this stripper he was smashing to get close to Andre to set him up. Then he hired another dude to be the trigger man once the stripper gave up the location and lured Andre outside. He paid the stripper $10,000 and the trigger man $5,000. But why drop $15,000 to have your own nephew hit, right? Well, this was all for a come up. So a couple of years before Andre's murder, Tim was able to secure a $450,000 life insurance policy on Andre. In order to do this, Tim was in cahoots with an insurance agent who helped him maneuver the process of finessing the insurance company. They had to do all of that because Tim has no insurable interest on Andre's life. Barring special circumstances like a guardianship, the insurance company will certainly question why someone other than a spouse or a parent would even want a policy on someone else's life. Tim and the insurance agent lied about Tim's income, his job status, and a bunch of other qualifying details to get the policy approved. All around, this was a devastating shock for the family. Tim continued to deny the allegations, but at trial, prosecutors revealed text messages that would suggest otherwise. One text message that was sent to a co-conspirator said he ain't gonna be alive for that much longer. Another text message sent to the life insurance agent read, "Just act like you're Dre," in order to get approved for the policy. The trigger man who was hired to unalive Dre was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 32 years in prison. The stripper who set Andre up and the life insurance agent who kind of helped Tim finesse the process, they both received 3 years in prison. And Tim was convicted of 2 counts for murder for hire and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud. Tim was sentenced to life in prison. R.I.P. Andre.